Welcome CIS 257. So today, this is our first actual Tuesday session, and we're going to try to record our lectures on Tuesdays. So you're going to see me wired like this. So today's presentation, officially we say that Tuesdays are for our, time for our presentations, and I'm going to jump to our outline. And we have started our conversation about objects and strings, and the first time we talked about the string builder. So the string builder is essentially a string which is mutable, which can be changed. So it can append characters, it can allow us to change individual characters. So basically this is something that we can definitely pay attention to, because sometimes it's very convenient to change values of the string in place as opposed to copying strings. So I'm going to open this presentation for the string, and we can quickly review and go to the place where we left off. So we said that there are actually two representations of mutable string in Java, which is string builder and string buffer classes, and it's advisable that we're going to use not string buffer. String buffer is currently exists, but it's inherently thread safe. So thread safety is something that is also an overhead, right? Because every time you make a call into the string buffer method, it's going to do some additional checks to make sure that it, for instance, serializes access to all of its methods in case if there are multiple executable threads trying to access this object, and it's trying to make the content very safe for these concurrent calls. This overhead is absolutely not needed in many applications, especially when we plan for our own thread safety, even if we have a multi-threaded application, or we just expected to use it on a single thread of execution, as we do, commonly in our practice. So anyway, string builder is the answer. String builder is essentially a mutable string. Now, if you think about what is the difference between mutable string and immutable string, well, I guess my answer to this question would be that string builder, which is the representation of a mutable string, the string that can change the content in place in that location in memory where the current content is located. So my answer to this would be that basically what we get is the functionality of the string plus substring operations. What kind of substring operations? For instance, replacements. Take a substring and replace it with new content. Take a character and replace it. For instance, convert character to an uppercase, right? Or lowercase. Or replace digit with a letter or something like that, right? Or take the entire substring of an existing substring and replace it with new content. So these operations sounding pretty straightforward, but the actual algorithm implementation of them can be somewhat tricky. So we can discuss that. But first, let's take a look at the normal review of the functionality here. For example, first we say, how do you create the string builder? So this string builder, its name is string builder, but this is really a mutable string. So as you can see, it's very similar to creation of a string, new object name, and then we have to specify the text literal in many occasions, just to initialize the string inside the string builder. And this time of course, we have to use the constructor syntax. You cannot just simply use a string literal. You have to say new string builder, right? So you have to explicitly say. So this will create string builder, and which will contain this text, and this can be manipulated in place. So just be aware of it, that it's a very popular object. And internally, of course, it has an internal memory buffer, which is now read-write type of memory, which makes it all mutable content, right? And so as necessary, this buffer may grow in size, right? So it can be allocated initially to its initial size, but then it can be reallocated and made bigger if we keep growing the content inside this object. Obviously, this is all foreign to the string class, right? String classes just says whatever you gave me, whatever the value was given at the beginning of the life cycle of a string class instance. This is going to be the content of it for the rest of the life cycle. Over here, changes in place, content changes. Naturally, because this buffer management is a runtime type of work. So some initial size is allocated, and it's reserved. It has certain capacity, but not all of its space is instantly used, right? So there could be just a few characters in the string, but the memory block can be larger, a few times larger than the actual content. So some people, especially those who are interested in efficiency and performance and memory consumption, are kind of curious about the current footprint in memory of the string builder class, and that is accessible through the capacity. But the capacity is different than size. So the size of, or rather length of the string builder, the length of the string builder will give you the amount of characters actually stored, but the capacity is something that is being already reserved in memory. Okay, so let's see, one more thing to look at. So these are the methods, and some of them are quite familiar because we basically looking at the replacement of the string class, for instance, length, right? So the length of the content. Look at this character at. Also should look pretty familiar because character at is a method which is commonly found in string. This is how we access individual characters inside the string. But look at others. Look at delete and replace and insert. These are all those substring operations, so that you specify the starting position, and then you specify the ending position or the length. You specify the new value, and this way you can replace existing content with new content. So let's look at some other views of the string builder.